And today's talk is a little bit like that. It's not me convincing you, it's about embodiment today. Embodying this idea of moving into the consciousness of plenty, of being more than, and not questioning whether that's going to happen or not, but knowing it, absolutely knowing it. So, with the opening sentence says, in the spirit of harvest season and Thanksgiving, in that spirit today, we're going to look at not the limitations of, but the consciousness of. What Ernest Holmes would call the faith of God. And I have lots of little different ways I'm going to have you look at that. The original topic title was the five loaves and fishes. We've all heard that talk or that story. I kind of call it a parable too, because there's more to it than just loaves and fishes. There's things that we learn from that process. So anyway, I'll start out with, this is something that Science Mind said. Said, when we release thoughts of lack and commune with our divine nature, the word impossible transforms into I'm possible, it's possible, anything is possible. Right?
Yes.
Now, this is possibly, who said that? Oh, in the back room, good, okay. It's possible. But I'm going to say this, this is not part of my talk, but it's something that I kind of have learned over the years, and that is when we're in lack and limitations, this is lack and limitations, the other isn't possible. We can't think of the other. So today is about shifting that lack and limitations to it's possible, okay? And I'll be saying this a lot because I want you to get it today. I mean, I feel like my talks have been more about embodiment, embody this, embody this, embody this. Because when we really embody it, I was talking to somebody, Diane, may I say something? Sure. Okay, Diana, all of a sudden life is just like overflowing. And I know we've been working on it. Yeah. And it's like, when you look at it and you go, oh, it's overflowing, you know what's going to happen? Tell me, everybody, what's going to happen if you're...
Overflowing.
It's going to overflow some more. Yeah. You're going to get more. So today is about a shift. Today is about a shift. So, in the story of Jesus and the loaves and fishes, Jesus looked at this as the power of plenty, having more than enough, realizing we have more than enough. But as the story goes, this little boy came up to him and said, here's what I have. I have 5 loaves and 2 fishes. But Jesus didn't question that. He didn't go, oh my God, how are we going to feed thousands of people with this? But what he did is he held it in his hands, and he didn't hesitate, and he gave thanks. He gave thanks for what he had. He broke the bread and said, God, thank you for this flow. Thank you for everyone here that's willing to be here. And he was humble about it. Just thank you. It's enough. That's what the little boy came up and said, that's all I have. Jesus didn't say, well, that's not enough. He said, okay, let's thank God for this. When he asked his congregation of 1,000, can you imagine? To close their eyes and let us bless this blessing right now, what do you think happened to the rest of the people? They said, let's open up and give it to the rest. So whatever anybody had, everybody got fed. No one was left behind. The interesting part of this little parable is that the story goes on to say, not only was everyone fed, but 12 baskets of leftover remained. It remained. There was more than enough. The thing is that Jesus operated, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the guy that we kind of follow, Jesus. He came from a consciousness of infinity, of abundance, of more than enough, rather than going, well, gee whiz, this is all you gave me. I don't know if I can do this. Do you know, I'm saying this kind of silly, but I want you to get it. We don't have to be that way anymore. We need to know that there's more than enough. I can look at, it's fun for me. So I get to sit up here and I get to look at each one of you and I get to say, yes, 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 yes. Because you're all doing it. And I may be talking to the crowd, but you know what? How many of us forget it? Forget that we have enough. Forget that there's enough. Forget that there's always going to be enough. We all, raise your hands, everybody. Thank you. I do it. We all do it. But as we embody this and we decide, you know what, I'm going to commune with the divine, then something happens. In fact, this morning, I won't tell you the conversation, but I heard, well, we spent so much money. We don't have that this weekend, more than I think I've ever spent. And I said, we have plenty. I kept saying, we have plenty. We have more than enough. We chose to take whatever we had and we spent it on this. I had a $45 pork chop. $45 pork chop. It was awesome, though. I even had some left over to take home. It was the best pork chop I've had. It was that thick. But it was $45, and it was like, can we? And I went, of course we can. Of course we can. There's plenty. There's enough. So I gave you, every one of you guys have, oh, and I don't. Could you hand me one of those booklets? Oh, wait, I do have it. Sorry. Each one of you got one of these, right? So I'm trying to give you lots of examples here. So you start to think about this in a different way. Because something that happens, let me get your attention first. When we get into a place of forgetting that there's not enough, yes, it's the booklet. Mine's colored, yours not. It's like this. It's black and white. Everybody got one? Yeah, mine's colored. When we get into the point of there's not enough, or I'm afraid, or whatever, we need to have tools. This is a tool. I created this, George and I created this like 3 or 4 years ago. And we still give this out at the front door every time somebody comes in. So I want you to turn to the next to the last page. It says abundance on it. Next to the last, 2 pages in from the back page. Go to it says abundance. Take a moment and just read these. Just take a moment and find one there that it connects with you. One that you like. And for those of you that are online, I'll be reading some of these, but if you would like one of these handbooks and you don't have one, let me know, and I'll be happy to send you one. Anybody pick one you like? Yeah, which one do you like?
You are at this moment standing right in the middle of your own acres of diamonds.
Woo!
I like that.
Isn't that nice? Stick to it that you are rich. Get the $1 million consciousness. There's no other way. Our life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it. That's Ernest Holmes. I like this one. See money coming to you from every source and from every direction. Know that everything is working for your good. If you don't like God, use good. It's coming to you. I love the ones on the other pages, the long one that says, there is a lie that it acts like a virus within the mind of humanity. And that lie is there's not enough good to go around. There's lack and there's limitations and there's just not enough. The truth is that there is more than enough good to go around. There is more than enough creative ideas. There is more than enough power. There is more than enough love. There's more than enough joy. Sounds like a song. And all of this begins to come through a mind that is aware of its own infinite nature. You get it? You gotta get it. There's more than enough. And if any time you feel like there's not enough, and I'll be really honest with you, on occasion I get a call from somebody that says, I don't see it, I don't see it. You call me and I will tell you that there's more than enough. Not only is there more than enough, there's more than enough and more than that. And that you deserve it. Because you are good people. You give. You give consciously. Yes.
That's the underlying issue is, am I worthy of it?
You are worthy of
No,
it.
I get I am.
Yes.
However, there's, times
Yes.
that show up going,
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's getting too good. Maybe we need to.
Oh, there's a shoe that's going to drop. Yeah. Yeah, it's too good. It's just too darn good. You know what? I had somebody come to me years ago that said, my life is great. I don't need anything. You know what I said to them? Your life is great because you're a good steward. Now it's time for you to give it away.
Yeah, there you go.
It's time for you to stretch out of that goodness and do more goodness.
Yeah.
God would not give you that place to be in if you weren't meant to give it away, to show another person, show the children. Show them. They need to know this. And that's what our job is. I like this one. When you realize there's nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. So, you get in that place, you open this little book, and you read this, and you read this, and you meditate on it, and you do something to say to yourself, I am worthy of this. You wouldn't be here today if you weren't worthy of it. I don't want you to be here today if you're not worthy of it. I want you to remember you're always worthy. I still remember someone calling me, and I was driving on 52 up the hill from Santee, and I felt like I was screaming at them. You give, you tithe, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. Absolutely, you deserve it. And by the time I was done, they went, okay. They believed me. They believed me. Success. But it was pretty cool because I still remember that day. Because and you know, I mean, I won't go to where I've been, but you know where I've been. And I know every little ounce of that is true. There's not a part in my body that doesn't say it. All right, so keep that little booklet. That's for you. And I said this earlier, but I'll say it again because this is part of the idea of abundance, is that we do this like childlike. We have childlike faith. You know, and sometimes we're these adults. Anybody here an adult? No. We have to have childlike faith. We have to believe, like a child, that anything is possible. Anything is possible. So the detail of the story is the young boy, as I've said before, gave Jesus, without question, if it was enough. If it was enough. He simply trusted that what he offered would be useful. So a lot of times what I see is we go down this bad road and then we start coming back and it's like, well, that's not quite it. That's not quite where I want to be. I'm not sure. The truth is, it's a step. It's a stepping stone for you to see that this is how you got there. And if you go back there, you go, I don't want to be there again. And you shift. You make that little tiny shift to go, you know what? I'm going to be okay. But it's something we have to do. We have to mentally, emotionally, physically do. That's what Ernest Holmes calls faith of God. Faith of God. Ernest Holmes said this in his Thanksgiving radio station. He said this, which I thought was pretty cool. Can you pour it for me, please? Thank you. Out of all the vast throngs, I loved his words, the only person in the great congregation who really entered into the Spirit was the little boy. Jesus and the little boy were the only two people who didn't know it couldn't be done. Didn't know it couldn't be done. Everybody else is like, how's he going to do it? But they closed their eyes, they heard his words, speaking to the divine, and everybody shared. So, this one was on faith, right? Yeah, so I have a couple things on faith. Whenever I write a talk, I keep going, what else do I need to say? What else do I need to say? And so things come to me. And so here's one. This book is called The Book of Graduation Wisdom. When you graduate from college or from school or whatever. And this is from John Grisham. Just a short message. He says, if you're sitting out there now with a nice, neat little outline for the next 10 years, you better be careful. Life may have other plans. Life will present you with unexpected opportunities. And it will be up to you to take a chance, to be bold, to have faith, and go for it. Be bold, have faith, and go for it. Not be afraid. Not be afraid. And I thought, well, that's not quite enough. So I just bought this book for me and someone else. It's called The Heart of Buddha Teaching, a transforming suffering into peace, joy, and liberation. Anyway, well, what does he have to say? So he talks about the 5 powers. And this is, again, just a very short passage. It says, the first of the 5 is faith. Faith. That's one of the powers we have. When we have faith, a great energy in us is unleashed. If our faith is in something unreliable or false, not informed by insight, sooner or later it will lead us to a state of doubt and suspicion. You know what that one is, right? But when our faith is made out of insight and understanding, that's the reason I talk about the steps. We will touch the things that are good, beautiful, and reliable. Faith is the confidence we received when we put into practice a teaching that helps us overcome difficulties and obtain some transformation. It's like the confidence of a farmer has in his way of growing crops. It is not blind. It is not some belief on a set of ideas or dogma. It's because you know it. You can prove it. It happens all the time. You don't have to question it. Today, I do not want you to ever question abundance again. It is your birthright. You deserve it. All of you. Everyone online, you deserve this today. So, I have a little story.
Okay.
I know you like my stories. This story is about this location. You know we've been here now 8 years?
Wow.
I remember the old place.
That's right, me too. But when we were about ready to leave that place, we went searching and searching and searching. And I wanted to stay on University because it's just a good street. And so I would drive up and down. I do this now too, but not often anymore. But anyway, I drove down the street and I saw there was this huge sign out in front on this window. I went, oh, maybe that's our new place. So, of course, I walked over here and I parked and I went in the window and I'm looking. And something said to me inside, this is our home. I want you to hear that. Something inside me said that was our home. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just call. Let me call. So I call, and the guy says, well, I'm not really sure. We have another tenant that's interested in the place. And they're kind of in negotiations. I said, well, I'd still like to see it anyway. Can I come down? Oh, sure, you can see it. So I came down, and whether you know it or not, these walls came out to about, actually to where this stripe is, about here, and it was like a computer area. And so I had a wall here, and, it didn't quite look the same. And I thought, well, in my mind, like when you're buying a new house, and you go, well, we could do this, we could do that. In my mind, I'm going, well, we could do that and that. And anyway, the guy was really nice to me, and I thought, well, this is kind of interesting. He's really, really nice. Something inside me said, this is our home. I'm trying to get you to get this. So I said, okay, well, let me know if something changes. So, I don't know. I said, I'm going to do is I'm going to send you our financials and fill out the application just in case. No, actually, I just said I'll just send you our financials. That's what I did first. He said, well, okay, go ahead. What do I know, right? So I send him financials. Step by step by step by step. And he calls me back up and he said, hey, could you just fill out an application for me? Fill out the lease agreement application. Step by step by step. Then he calls me up and he says, I called him and I said, so how's it going? He said, well, the other tenants, possible tenants, are negotiating the contract. They have a lawyer involved. You don't do that. You don't do it on a simple place like this. I said, oh, that's interesting. So how's it going? Well, I'm not really sure. I said, okay. And then he calls me and says, well, they've dropped out. Are you interested? Step by step by step. I knew something inside said, this is our home. I said, we're very interested. Let's meet down there again and talk about it. So they made very small adjustments. They cut the wall out. That wall over there didn't exist. Mav and I put that wall in. And then I said, well, he said, well, how long you want to be here? I said, well, how about 3 months? Or 3 years? He says, okay, we'll give you 3 years free rent. 3 months, 3 free rent. Let me say that. Sorry. Getting these mixed up. So he gave us 3 months. 1 month was to close the other place and move in here, or paint, clean, do whatever we're going to do. And then we had 2 more months free rent. This has been one of the nicest places we've ever been, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And during the pandemic, we actually completed our 3-year transition. And we've never, ever, never, ever not paid our leases in full. The interesting part about that, and I say these things to you because I want you to see how God works for our community, is that I'm saying to him, well, I think we're going to probably move because the pandemic, we're closed. He said, you know what? You guys are so good, we're going to give you 7 months free rent.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
What we do here is we come from a place of consciousness of plenty, of knowing that God moves through us, moves through this organization in many, many ways. I can tell you there are lots of people that closed down because of that. Lots of CSLs that went from a place like us to now they're teaching chapters. It's the consciousness behind everything. This is the reason why I teach these things. I love blowing people's mind, or using these words. I love these words because they're simple, but they're effective and they're true. You cannot fight them. So this is our home. This is our home. And we'll be here as long as you guys want to be here. Okay? So I wrote down some things that I actually learned about that. One was to expect miracles. So you can go ahead and do that. I give you permission, all right? 2 is to have faith. The possibilities. Remember I talked that all is possible. Trust the inner voice. It's guiding you. It may not look like it at the moment, but listen to it. I don't say listen anymore. I say live it. Live that voice and never give up. It reminds me of the first place that we moved on university. And I'll just say this briefly. We had 800 square feet, and there was another suite that was another 800 right next door to us. And there's a few of you that are here from then. And when we got into that place, it was a circle. I loved it. It was a panoramic view. But something said to me, get in the other one. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? I'll use this as the example. And I did get some counsel on this from someone. Anyway, but imagine this was a tie. I was like this, get into the other one. Go ahead, you're going to be fine. And we did, and we were just fine. So though I tell you these things because this is what's happening to us if we pay attention. Spirit is always talking to us, giving us those clues. Listen to it and live it. Wayne Dyer says this. He says, abundance is not something we acquire, it's something we tune into. We tune into that. And then Ernest Holmes says, when we learn to trust the universe, we shall be happy, prosperous, and well. We must learn to come under the divine government. Not the U.S. government, the divine government. And accept the fact that nature's table is ever filled. Never was there a cosmic famine. There's a book called Divine Government, too, that if you're ever interested, I'll bring it in. The point being is that it is always there. Believe in that which is And there's somebody out front that's picking up our sign. Gigi. Let Gigi come in. Okay? Let Gigi come in. Have her come in.
Picking up our son.
We have a thing that fell down. Too much wind, right? An abundance of wind. So the last point I want to give, which I think is, it's part of the formula. You can have the consciousness, you can embody it, but if you want more, anybody here want more? Raise your hand, everybody. If you want more, you have to give thanks. You have to give thanks, and not just when it happens, but in advance. I was thinking about this morning, and how many people have been stuck in traffic?
Never.
I have this little method you might want to try, and it really helps me because I don't like being stuck in traffic. I travel to LA and I just do not. In fact, LA is easier to drive in than it is in San Diego right now. From Ocean, you know what I'm talking about? From Oceanside all the way to my house takes me longer to get home than when I'm in LA coming all the way to Oceanside. It's just incredible. But I have this little method. So everybody, put your hands like this, like you're for, excuse me, my finger doesn't go any other way. And do this. It's called a wave. I wave them forward. In fact, on the way home from Vegas yesterday, it was like, oh my God. And I'm going, come on. And now what I'm saying to the universe is, there is plenty of room for everybody to have a lot of space to drive forward. And it works. It takes the anxiety off of me too. Because I'm moving with the divine. It's my divine idea. Divine, move this traffic so that we can all have the same luxury of going 80,000 miles an hour. Right?
It's like a parking spot angel.
That's right.
Right.
I do that too, but I don't only get the one in the front, but I park the guy in the back too. That's behind me. So, do that. Anyway, Holmes asked these questions in his book called Things Called Life. He says, are you and I giving thanks and praise the increase? Come on in. Come on in. Are we praising the increase? How many of you have gotten an increase lately? You want to start praising that. When you notice it, say, yes, thank you so much. I will be a good steward of this. I will do more than you ever thought I would do. This is telling the universe, okay, I'm ready for more. I'm going to show you that. And then the other one is, are we gratefully acknowledging the good we wish to experience? I want to have this happen. I want to have that happen. I want to move in that direction. Give thanks in advance for that. Just for the thought. When we give thanks for the thought, then what does it do? It brings it right back to you. That's right. You're the mirror. So it's ready for you. So Ernest Holmes said this. He said, the spirit is the source of supply, and substance is forever taking form. Our supply is never limited to a particular channel. All the possibilities of the infinite being exist for us right now. God doesn't have a lot of channels. It's only one that I know of. Go for it. Go for it. So I'm going to give you a quote, and I'm going to say it first. Then I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, and I will repeat. You okay there? Okay. And I'm going to repeat the words. And at that moment, I want you to then repeat it after me. All right? So let me just say what the quote is, and then I'll have you close. Keep your eyes open first. Look at me first. Say. And instead of what I'm going to say, I'll say us. I'll say, for you, I'll say me. So you're talking to yourself. So here's the quote. There is an inner presence that responds to us. There is a power of right, that can rearrange all of our circumstances if we believe it can. Now I will change the words so it's for you. All right, so go ahead and close your eyes. And we're going to do this a few times because I want you to embody this. So repeat after me. There is an inner presence that responds to me. There is a power of right that can rearrange all of my circumstances. If I will believe it can. Okay, one more time. There's an inner presence that responds to me.
There is an inner presence that responds to me.
There is a power of right
There is a power of right
that can rearrange all of my circumstances.
that can rearrange all of my circumstances.
If I believe it can.
If I believe it can.
Now take that in. Take that in. Feel that. Touch your hearts. Let your heart feel it. I'm going to say it one more time to you as though you're going to repeat it, but don't repeat it this time. There's an inner presence that responds to you. There's a power of right that can rearrange all of your circumstances if you will believe it can. Take a deep breath in. Embody that. When you're ready, open your eyes. How's that feel? Good. So really all we have to do is have that faith in God, the divine good, whatever name you want to call it. Have the confidence and the consciousness to follow the teachings that we have, to practice being thankful. Maybe just driving home is enough to be thankful. I think somebody on the line talks to me a lot about driving. Just sometimes getting around. I mean, I've seen some weird stuff lately. I saw 3, 4, maybe 5 motorcycles having a race on Highway 8. They must have been going 120. And I thought, man, if you hit a rock, you're dead. And everybody else around them. So give thanks. Let those people go. Let them do their things, but give thanks that you had the consciousness to see it and not be afraid of it. And know that you're going your 80 miles an hour.
72.
All right, 72. All right, 72. So I have 2 things that I want you to practice in the coming weeks, because Thanksgiving is not this week, but next week. By the way, if there's anybody that doesn't have a place to go on Thanksgiving Day, come see me, and we'll find you a place to go, okay? And next year, since COVID's gone, everything's gone, we will have Thanksgiving here next year, okay? Yeah. Just a matter of putting things in right alignment. So, all right, here's the first thing. First thing is I want you to consider something that you desire, something that you've been wanting, but you don't see it yet in your life, okay? So that's the first thing. I want you to visualize as if it's already manifested. All right, just visualize, and then give thanks in advance. Thank you for bringing that to me. Thank you for whatever it is you want. And then trust that you are a wisdom seeker and that you've done everything to say, okay, I'm ready for it. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, as we approach Thanksgiving, I want us to practice giving thanks in advance. You go to the store, give thanks there's plenty of food. You go to a friend and go, thank you for being, in your own mind. You don't have to go up there and hug him and say thank you, but just, you know what I mean? It's like giving thanks that you have people in your life that love you. I could give you a whole bunch of ideas. And know that imagine your needs are already met, and celebrate with an abundance of joy, gratitude, and faith. So those are 2 things I want you to practice. Actually, there's one more. And I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to tell you anyway. On December 13th, I'm having knee replacement. Okay? So I want you to start visualizing that I am perfectly whole and complete. So I'm visualizing that already. But, and that we will have our Christmas party, this is kind of a little announcement, on the 20th, which is Sunday. And the Christmas party are for those people who remember to come on that day. It will have White Elephant gift exchange. We'll have a dinner or luncheon for all of us. And Brenda's going to pick me up, and I will be here, and I'll let all of you serve me. I will have a walker probably, yeah. I have several of those at my house. But I'm saying I want you to go ahead and start, put me in your prayers right now.
Got it.
So that it's already done. It's only less than a month away, so. Anyway, I'm excited because it's going to make me able to go do a lot of things I haven't been able to do.
We got you, Reverend.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah.
All right. So can you do what I just asked? Those three
Yes.
things? All right. So I'm going to just pray us in to that we embody this for the rest of the year, for the rest of your life. And then we'll have Cahill and Delene. And when I pray, can you do a little in the background? All right. So let's close our eyes. And so as we take in this truth of abundance, of the Spirit moving through our lives, let us know right here where we sit, this is our message. This is the message of Spirit moving through each of us to hear the message, to believe in the message, and to give that message away. And so I know that each person that hears my voice, whether it's now, online, or in the future, that we all know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Spirit's moving through us, in us, and as us, and giving us those things which we know that we not only deserve, but that we can know that we can learn and grow, and then give away to someone else who is deserving and wanting to know the divine Spirit that moves through them. And so I bless each of us today. I bless the message. I bless all of you that came to hear me today, and those that will listen later, knowing that it is the divine that moves through us, and each and every time, just say yes. Yes for more, and yes for more. And with that, I'm grateful. And I give thanks. And so it is. Amen. Let's bring back
And so
Cahill
it
and Delene.
is.